Good evening, welcome. This is SportsZone on Joy Prime. My name is Fento. It's Ahiro Fento. We're back from a weekend of history. History for Medeama Sporting Club, who have won their first ever Ghana Premier League title. We'll tell you how they did it this season after coming close twice before. Manchester City, champions in 3 different competitions for the first time in their history. And for the first time in their history, they are UEFA Champions League champions. How have they done it? How has Pep Guardiola masterminded what will go down in history as possibly the best team to ever play this game? We'll look at that. And then, of course, in Roland Garros, history for Novak Djokovic, a 23rd Grand Slam title. He's gone clear now of any other individual player with the most Grand Slam titles in the history of the sport. How has a man from Serbia moved past all of his peers and now sitting aloft all by himself? That's what we've got on the show tonight. From now till 10 p.m., we'll be diagnosing how Medeama have won the title, how Manchester City are building a dynasty, including a screen tactical analysis on the screen on how they navigated a very, very tricky Champions League final to triumph by 1-0. That's all to come here on the show, which is live and interactive on social media. So do send me a message. Use the hashtag SportsZone on Twitter. The hashtag is SportsZone on Twitter. Leave me a message there with that hashtag. I'll retweet them and share them with the rest of our viewers from across the globe. Also, if you prefer WhatsApp, the number is 0551 57 57 57. 0551 57 57 57. That's the WhatsApp number. Send in your messages and we'll read them for you. This show, of course, on Joy Prime Sports Zone is brought to you by Hunters as well as Syntex Tank. Of course, those are the 2 big sponsors for this particular show. We'll take a very, very short break. When we come back, we'll go straight into showing you some highlights. Welcome back. This is Sports Zone on Joy Prime. I'm Fento. What a wonderful weekend we're coming off, as I indicated. Medeama Sporting Club, champions of the Ghana Premier League. And it's been really wonderful. And that's probably why I have decided to make a very small substitution and bring on the show tonight a man that knows Medeama through and through. He could even pass for a Medeama correspondent. Chutamaclo, an original member, cast member of this show. Good to see you again, bro. You abandoned us for a little bit. How are you? You want to grow a beard and an afro. It's good. Life is good.
This can't pass for an afro.
Life is good. Afro is coming. It's coming. But the two of you,
hopefully it comes with
the two of you are coordinating outfits today with the wine color. Sicho, how are you?
I'm well.
You're right?
I'm all right.
Okay, great. Fantastic. Anyway, so it was a dramatic day leading to the Ghana Premier League final day. Of course, Medeama Sporting Club have put themselves in pole position. Literally, they only needed to avoid defeat at home to Tampa.
That he played, he scored 12 goals for them, which is remarkable. So they made 2 signings that essentially gave them steel and substance. Steel at the back in Felix Shea, who they got from Karela. Perhaps a move that Medeama benefited from the chaos at Karela, because from what I was told yesterday, when the club got wind of the player's decision to move to Karela, to Medeama, they offered him something more than what Medeama had offered. But his mistrust of the new regime essentially is what informed his decision to move on to Medeama Sporting Club. But those signings are exactly what has characterized Medeama as a football club, because if you go back to what has made them successful over the years, in the years they used to win the FA Cup, it was picking young talent with high resale value who could help them, give them a competitive edge in the interim for free, and often with a very consistent profile. And if you would remember all of those diminutive wingers and playmakers from Theophilus Anaba, Kwame Boahene, in recent times they've had Ebenezer Akabi, Nana Kofi Babala, amidst a bit of turmoil, if you like, because we've seen the longest serving chief executive in the league move away from the club and perhaps return in an unofficial capacity in James Esilfi. But the biggest moves they had made were in the boardroom, because in November last year, they gave away a significant control of the club to the traditional council in that area. After they paid the initial $100,000 for them because there was an audit, and the long and short was that they could no longer continue because it was a sole proprietorship at the time. Yeah. So they learned from some of these things. And one of the immediate benefits of that was the decision to actually put into action an earlier agreement to build a club stadium with goal fields. So you're looking at a very progressive club which has its own issues, but is making a deliberate attempt to learn from them and to build on the experience that they've had over the years. One of the things that I perhaps did not agree with that they did this season was to re-sign Theophilus Anoba. For those who remember the acrimonious nature in which he left the club 8 years ago, to bring him back took a lot of sacrifices. But as I was told, his return was perhaps a sign that Moses Ama was prepared to bend bridges and give a bit of...
And he needed that good mix of experience and young players, because this Medeama team, the top scorer is a centre-back in Vincent Atinga. And he scored 11 goals this season, 9 of which have come from the penalty spot. Probably the most
Jonathan scored one more than Atinga. Jonathan Sowa scored by virtue of the hat-trick yesterday.
Yes, okay, by virtue of the hat-trick yesterday, exactly. Before the last game of the season,
he was on 11.
He was on 11, scored 9 penalties. I mean, we tend to underestimate the players when they score from the penalty spot. But there was a season where Chelsea's top scorer was Jorginho, and it was because he also scored the goals from the penalty spot. It's not that easy, is it? Is it true?
No, it's not. I mean, to do it consistently, it's not. And that's the thing. When many goalkeepers know that you are good at it, before they meet you, before they come up against you, they would have prepared. They would have seen all your clips of taking penalties. If you take it once in a while and you score... You've taken 2 penalties in the whole season. That's quite different. But when everybody knows that you're the consistent taker, it takes some bit of nerves to do that. And I think, he's always been a very good spot taker. You know, from Hartlepool through the local Black Stars those days, he always was calm in front of the goalkeeper from the spot. So yeah, the experience was needed, his calmness was needed, and of course his leadership at the back when he played. And we speak about him and we talk about his goals, but he's defended very well for them as well. This has been a tower for them at the back. So yeah, I think Medeama, as you know, Achu has said it. It's been a work in progress for them, really, because they've been here before, but it's by no fault of theirs. These seasons have not been able to be completed. Before number 12, they were leading the table. Before COVID, and when the league was truncated, they were leading the table. They could have gone on to win. At the time they were leading, they were the best team in the league. They could have gone on to win.
On both occasions, they were actually the best team. And that's why I said in my intro that this is probably the year you can't stick your neck out and say Medeama have been necessarily the best team in the Ghana Premier League. But they've won the title. The seasons when they were really the best teams were the 2 seasons that were interrupted by both Fanas and COVID.
And even when you look at their squad, with a greater respect to this group, they've achieved a massive thing. But I think during the Nas expose, during the COVID time, they had a better group of players than what they've assembled now. And it's not as if they've been playing very well from the start of the season. And I think
they've gone through 3 coaches.
Yes, Achu has said it all. When Ivan Sadote came in, everything changed. And it changed along with some of the decisions they made when the second transfer window came and the recruitment. So yeah, credit to them and congratulations to Medeama.
All right, so congratulations to Medeama. They will be playing in Africa next season. Hopefully their new stadium would also have been completed then, and they would be playing those games there. We don't know. Maybe it will happen. But bottom line is, sometimes you need to put yourself in a certain position and wait for your opponent to slip up. Medeama had a wonderful second run, and once some of the teams at the top, especially Genostar, started to slip up, they were there to take advantage, and they took full advantage. So congratulations to everyone around the club and all their fans in Takwa who have supported this team for all these years and never have seen a Ghana Premier League title. This is for all of you, and congratulations. So that's the final round of matches on match day 34. So Ejana Stars, they beat Bichim United by 1-0. It was their first win against Bichim in 7 attempts, and they did it to no effect whatsoever. However, they did cement that second position, and they will be playing in the Confederation Cup next season. Kotoko and Dreams FC ended 0-0. Brecum Chelsea, Hearts of Oak, 0-0 as well. Pipieri Gold Stars Lions, same result. Greats Olympics, they escaped relegation on the last day. They won 2-1 against Nsoteman. Kotoko Royals have already relegated. Karela beat them 3-2. Lagos Cities, Konedu swore to everybody that they would survive, and they did spectacularly. They won on the last day as well, 3-2 against Samatex. Medeama confirmed the title with a 3-0 victory. Jonathan Sow with a hat-trick. And Real Tamale United against King Faisal. Faisal won 1-0, but they were already relegated. However, that victory means that Faisal have put themselves in position to escape relegation if they win their appeal. And that's why they won that game yesterday. I will tell you about that a little later. Medeama have won the title with 60 points. And that is not the most impressive accumulation of points, but it's certainly better than some clubs. For example, it's better than Jena Stars' 57 points from 2010. But a title is a title, and they've won it. One thing that I would say, though, that there is a very direct correlation between the number of points that a club amasses when they win the title and their performance in Africa. And that's why in those years when Harsefuk and Kotoko were doing very well in Africa, say in the year 2000 or in the year 2002, 2003, 2004, they were winning the Ghana Premier League with 78 points. It's incredible. So the quality of a team itself can be telling from their performance and the number of points they amass in the league. Medeama won the Ghana Premier League title, but they lost a whopping 10 matches from 34 games. They lost 10 games from 34 matches. They won less than 60% of the games played in the Ghana Premier League. It says something about the quality of a team. And if that's the team going to represent us in Africa, they will need a massive rebuild in order to do well.
You may want to give them the benefit of the doubt. In the 2 times that they've had to represent Ghana on the continent, their preparation has been some of the best I have seen.
True.
So you would remember that whenever they win the FA Cup, they would essentially pick the best of talents in the league, right? And then go out there, which is why, if you recall, in their very second appearance in the Confederations Cup, they made it all the way to the group stage.
They made the group stage.
Played TP Mazembe, played a lot of, I think, Zamalek, some really strong teams, and unfortunately could not qualify.
That was 2016.
2016. And yesterday after the game, Moses Ama made a pledge that as he's done the 2 previous times he's competed for it, he doesn't go there to disgrace himself. He is going to invest and ensure that he gives his team the best possible chance on the continent. So let's see how that goes. One thing is going to be certain. Their preparation is going to be supremely better than what Kotoko and all of these teams have been doing in recent years.
All right, fair enough. Let's look at the final league table then once again and just confirm who's been relegated. So there you go. The last 3 teams have gone down to Division 1. So Kotoko Royals, King Faisal and Tamale City. As painful as it is, those 3 teams will go down to Division 1. And the 3 teams that will replace them next season are Pando Heart of Lions, Nations FC, and Bofuakwa.
Asterisk on King Faisal.
Yes, asterisk on King Faisal. Put the table back up. Let me tell you why King Faisal is important. So we put an asterisk there.
Yeah.
Because they have 42 points, they have been relegated. However, they have an appeal pending before the appeals committee. That will be held on Wednesday. And they contest that Tamale City, when they played them, Tamale City won that game, of course. When they played them, Tamale City used a player that had double registration. In other words, he was unqualified to play in that game. Of course, they lost the decision at the disciplinary committee. They have appealed that decision. And a big if they win that appeal, it takes them to 45 points. That is level on points with Accra Lions. Okay, put that table back. Sorry, Great Olympics. I beg your pardon.
And Accra Lions.
And Accra Lions.
And Accra Lions, yes. However, King Faisal have a better head-to-head than Great Olympics, for example. Because when they hosted Olympics, they won 2-0. Then when Olympics hosted them, they won 1-0. In Ghana, nobody cares about goal difference. It's about head-to-head. So if King Faisal get 3 points from the boardroom, they'll kick King Faisal. They'll kick Great Olympics back into relegation.
Now the word yesterday after that,
and they will jump out.
What's the head-to-head between Olympics and Accra Lions then? Did Olympics do better than Accra Lions?
Because Lions did better. That's why Lions are on top already.
Okay, yeah, right. That's
exactly.
The word yesterday was that King Faisal are now trying to convince Tamale City to come forward and admit they knowingly and willfully fielded the unqualified player. Now, seeing as they are already relegated, whatever sanctions that are slapped on them is really not going to hurt. The sticking point will be whether that account or admission of Tamale City at this stage will be admissible at the appeals courts.
Interesting.
So in the appeal.
It's not Ghana Premier League without drama, is it? It's ridiculous.
It's part of the package.
It is. It can't exactly. You know, it's like they say if you pray for the rain,
Yeah.
you have to be prepared to deal with the mud.
Yeah.
So, but we will talk about the performance of the other teams. Hearts of a massive conversation there to be had about the kind of season they've had this year. They literally escaped relegation on the last day for a team that was competing for the title just 3 matches prior. It's a remarkable recession they found themselves in. But we'll move the conversation on. I'll take a couple of messages while Sicho goes to the tactical screen as we talk about the UEFA Champions League. But right now, lots of you have been sending in your messages on 0551 57 57 57, 0551 57 57 57. The UEFA Champions League final was on Saturday night. Let's just show you the highlights. Manchester City won by 1-0 in a match that many expected to be one-sided. It wasn't. It was as close as you get it. Actually, just talk me through the highlights. Let's go through the highlights.
So there's
Manchester City. No, let's just talk. Manchester City, where I mean, by a few people, a lot of people thought this would be very one-sided because Man City have been brilliant throughout this season. But this was actually really close.
This was close, and perhaps it betrayed the lack of attention people pay to the Italian league, and more importantly, the sort of changes that Inter have undergone since November last year. Because there was this interview after the semi-final where Romelu Lukaku referenced a crisis meeting that the team had, where Simone Inzaghi essentially told the players, look, what we're doing is not working. We either revert back to what we know how to do, which is to play compact, pick off teams, and then try to convert as many chances as possible. And in that, you get to see an admission from a manager or a sense of pragmatism from a manager, a unity of purpose in the sense that at that meeting, as Lukaku recounts, every single member of the squad made that admission that this is the best way forward, and they had to do that. And I think perhaps if we had paid attention to all of these cup finals and how Inter managed to get to these cup finals in the first place, how they played, and the closeness of their style of play to, curiously, the structure of the teams who City have failed to beat in the last 18 months, maybe we could have come to the realization that this tie is much closer than we think.
All right. Sicho, your thoughts on the game itself before we even go to the tactical screen. Pep has finally done the treble, and there's a lot of argument about whether or not he's the greatest manager in Manchester. But that's not the debate we're about to have here. Let's just talk about the impact and the kind of team he's built, the winning machine he's built, the lessons he's picked from all of those experiences of disappointment in the past in the Champions League itself. How did all of that come to play in this game against Inter? Because City they were nowhere near their best in this game, but they found a way to win.
Absolutely. And over the years, what many people have said about Pep was that he didn't have a plan B, especially during his time at Bayern Munich, because 3 years consecutively played in the semi-final. And when you look at the results in some of those games, they were quite similar in the way they lost them. They would possess the ball, but when they had to deal with counter-attacking football, they would feel that's it. And even at Manchester City, at times when they played against Liverpool, remember, the game against Spurs, they couldn't quite cope with counter-attacking football. And when you look at what Pep has done this season, is to build a team that is very sufficient, or efficient, I should say, in dealing with counter-attacking football. However, have got bodies in right places where they can hurt the opponents. But going into this fixture, you have after the game, he actually said it, that this team enjoys defending. They've got proper defenders at the back where they can defend. But gone are the days where you have thought that the manner in which this game panned out, maybe then City 2 years ago might have lost. So we are looking at a City team that has come of age, and Pep Guardiola, a manager who clearly understands what these moments means with these City players. And we've always said that Pep Lomani overthinks and overthinks and overthinks. If Pep had lost this game, I'm going to show you things that are going to mean like maybe he overthought it. Because even in this fixture, City played like they've not played in more recent times. Let's not forget that City have not been brilliant all season. City started playing very well since late January or post the World Cup.
After the World Cup,
After the World Cup was when they got to start playing some very fascinating football.
And he came with a changing tactics as well.
Changing tactics, absolutely. But even that, he's used John Stones differently and he's played with a midfield box. But what he did against Inter Milan was very different from what we are used to seeing Pep do since then. So we'll talk about it. Had he lost, the conversation would have been that he overthought it, and it probably would have been right.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
okay. So what was the overthinking here? How did it work?
Right. Okay. So I'll get to it, but first let's give credit to Inter Milan because, as you said, many people thought that it was going to be Inter Milan who were going to be, City were going to beat them by 5 or what have you. But the thing is, I actually think that Inter, with the way they press City, he actually stunned them. He actually surprised Pep Guardiola's team. Not too many teams or not too mate people were expecting Inter Milan to, by this time of the game, commit the number of bodies they've got.
This is the very first minute.
This is the very first minute. The Inter have got, look at the number of bodies they've got in City's half. 1, there, and there.
That is 7 players.
Not too
pressing Man City in their own half.
And look at the positions they are picking up. They are picking City up in zones that City are going to struggle to play out from the back. So when you look at where Brozovic is, and when you look at the movements of the players, and more interestingly, they've got 2 wide centre backs who were willing to advance in closing down players who would otherwise pick the house spaces at City. So if I progress this now, just look at the movements of the Inter Milan team. Look at the number of players who are backing up the press.
Yeah.
And look at just how quickly they are able to also shift across. Now look at the faces, or look at the body language of the Inter players. He's shifting across.
Every single one of them.
Every single one of them is shifting across just to make sure they're able to squeeze City in the places where they can't find the spaces to pass. So I think that in itself stand, Pep Guardiola's side. I'll show you another clip that is very similar. And again, that was very early on in the game. Now, if I play this on a little bit, again, look at the structure that Inter Milan have got, right? Look at the structure that they've got. Look at where Edin Dzeko is. And that is Edin Dzeko here. Look at where his strike partner is, Lautaro Martinez. Hakan Çalhanoğlu, very advanced on Rodri. Nicolo Barella as well. And Nicolo Barella's pressing triggers are important. It's as good as what Bernardo Silva does. Or maybe Bernardo Silva slightly better, but as important as what he does for City. Because he's actually doing the job here and at times the job there. So he's only waiting for the ball to get there, then he can squeeze up. But look at how high Dumfries also gets.
So Inter were very bold, essentially, is what you're saying. And that's what made the game as difficult as well. And this is 1 minute, 46 seconds.
So the intention was clear from the onset.
Right.
And City actually did panic about it a little bit. I'm not sure even the City players thought that Inter were going to be that aggressive in pressing. So you could see Pep Guardiola in one of the frames telling the City players to relax.
Calm down.
To relax because they actually suffocated them. And you see there as well, Brozovic on the spare man who the ball could have gone long to in, Ike Gundogan. Now, this is interesting because while this play develops, Edison's a great passer of the ball, but Inter were ready for any time he went to. Now keep an eye on that. Bam. Now Edison is going to go long, and it's going to go long to John Stones, right? It's going to go long to John Stones. So John Stones is ready to take the ball, but this is Bastoni, the left side centre back of Inter Milan. Watch how aggressive he is, and it wasn't only once, but throughout the game. Watch how aggressive Bastoni is. In a flash, he's there. Now, at this point, you have a feeling the ball is going to get to John Stones first.
The pass hadn't been kicked
yet.
The ball hadn't been kicked yet.
But he's
already spotted that that's where Edison is going.
That is where Edison is going to go. And every other player is in a very good position. That is why Edison is going long. So, look at there. If anything happens, he's going to go straight and press. I mean, Rodri is being targeted here.
Yeah.
And then there's also a trigger here. There is that.
Yeah.
There's this. And then, of course, that.
That is tight.
Everybody is... when you look at the discipline of Inter Milan in the game, it was quite special. Well drilled, by the way. Now, if you move this on, just look at how he crashes. If right there, pam, he wins the ball.
Wow.
That is Bastoni coming off to win the ball with a lot from deep. They were ready to do some of these things. And I'll take you to another one. While Bastoni did that, he actually freed up Erling Haaland with Acerbi. It was risky because in behind him is going to be Acerbi for pace.
But City attempted those passes a couple of times.
And so we would see a ball getting to Erling Haaland, but Acerbi is absolutely ready for that. Again, there you see it. City are trying to build up. They're trying to do something special there. So John Stones again very high up the pitch. City are trying to recycle the ball, press up. Another interesting angle where you see the Inter Milan players. Again, this is in the 8th minute. You're playing against City, the favourites in the competition. But look how high this Inter team gets Edison has to find another way of going forward. They are ready for that.
Yeah.
They are actually ready for him to take the ball anywhere they go. But look at that. Now, let me just stop this here. This is Bastoni again. Who is coming? This is Bastoni, and that is, if you like, this is John Stones, right? So this time around, John Stones spins around, Bastoni.
Yeah.
But something significant happens here, which is why we didn't see a lot of Erling Haaland. Acerbi is still man-marking Erling Haaland, and he's ready to gamble and go toe-to-toe with him. So this is what he does as the play develops. That is Acerbi. Bam! Again, very aggressive. So we didn't see City creating a lot of openings in the final third.
So that's why this game was so close at the beginning.
That is why this game was so close. And that was largely because City couldn't find the passes that would work the angles for them to penetrate Inter Milan, because Inter Milan took the risk. They pressed City very high up the pitch, right? Now, let me show you this one before I talk about something that I thought Pep did that otherwise would have said he was overthinking. Now, this is Pep Guardiola's team.
Okay.
Throughout this season, no, not this season, in February, coming into this time of the season, we had always spoken about Pep Guardiola playing with a midfield box. So, Pep Guardiola playing with a midfield box, you would have, this is John Stones, so maybe you have John Stones, who would be somewhere trying to move John Stones. Anyway, okay. So,
okay, you can just delete it and redo it.
Let me delete this and try and redo that. So that's John Stones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Use the other one, the first one.
This?
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
So let me try that.
Oh.
Anyway, I'm just trying to move him back. I'm going to explain this. Now, we're looking for a midfield box, right? That's what Pep Guardiola normally does. But in this game, he didn't do that. In this game, he played a midfield diamond instead. In the midfield box, you see a Pep Guardiola team that has a double pivot of these two. And you see a Pep Guardiola team that has, on top of the box, these two guys, right? But that is not a midfield box. And throughout the game, that is what happens. So I'll show you another clip that actually depicts that one even better. Now, when you look at how they are moving, if I stop this right here, what Pep Guardiola actually did in this game was to form a midfield diamond.
Okay.
A midfield diamond.
Okay.
If Ike Gundogan moves slightly this way, that is a perfect diamond. But of course, the game is in play. But I'll show you another clip that actually depicts that even better. So when you look at the midfield that City were playing, they had to play in that diamond because the Inter Milan midfield three, Inter Milan had three midfielders: Karanoglu, Barella, and of course, Karanoglu, Barella,
and Brozovic.
And Brozovic.
Yeah.
Now, if City had played that midfield box, what that would have meant was that the two advanced midfielders would have to deal with three players. But because they played that diamond, they've got width in that diamond in Stones, and at some points, Kevin De Bruyne before he got injured.
Yeah.
So they had three options. That is why Bastoni and at times Damien had to commit forward to deal with John Stones or Kevin De Bruyne. So that was good defending there. So now I'm sure this one then will give us a better picture of that. So clearly we'll see the midfield diamond here.
Yeah.
This, that, this, and that. There you have it. So he's at the tip of it. He's at the width of it. John Stones is at the width of it. And then the base of it is Rodri. Interestingly, it is this shape. It is this shape that the one time that Bernardo Silva got himself into these spaces. Because throughout the game, Bernardo Silva couldn't get himself into these spaces.
He was struggling. Because so he was forced to go central most of the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, the one time that he got himself into this channel and John Stones pushed up a little bit, then the goal happened. So let's go straight to the goal. Now, this is the goal as it develops.
Yeah.
Now, keep an eye on where John Stones is.
He's holding his weight. He's standing akimbo, but the play is going on. Oh.
Yeah. John Stones, and he played very well. I can understand you have to take a breather because at this point, yeah, he was playing very well. And throughout the game, Bernardo Silva would find himself here instead.
True.
But on this occasion, look at where Bernardo Silva is.
Wow.
And then there is Phil Foden. You have Rodri there, and then Ike Gundogan also pushes up. It was one of the very few moments in the game or stretch that you had City having players anywhere close to these house spaces that they could smell that something could happen. Now, throughout this season or in more recent weeks, Pep Guardiola has instead played John Stones as a centre-back who advances into midfield, a midfielder who retreats into a centre-back. But in this game, he actually played him on the right, who would invert, overlap or underlap. So had Pep Guardiola lost this game, the conversation very much would have been maybe he overthought it.
Yeah.
But in doing so, he won him the game. And if I progress it, look at what happens here. As City build up, John Stones keeps his position very wide.
Yeah.
And the point
he's free.
And he's free. Now, look at DiMarco. His man was surely going to be John Stones at some point. But at this point, he has no choice. He has to squeeze into the box. But as the ball begins to develop and John Stones becomes free, Akanji steps up from deep. And that completely changes everything. Right there. This completely changes everything. Because as soon as Akanji gets the ball and takes more risk, DiMarco is on alert that, listen, there is John Stones for me to take care of. Because this pass can go this way. So he has to keep an eye on John Stones. So what does that do? He actually creates space between DiMarco and Bastoni.
Left centre back.
Yes, and Bastoni throughout the game has been very, very aggressive in stepping out and closing down. Now, there is Bernardo Silva who is lurking here. As soon as Akanji progresses the ball, as you would see, Bastoni steps out. Now, there you have it. So, you see, so he steps out. And he steps out and Bernardo Silva gets to the ball. Right? I'll try and bring it back a little bit. And then, okay. So, let me bring it back some more. Okay. So, let me... As soon as, he steps out, then there's a problem. Now, this is the problem. Because Bastoni wants to be aggressive and close down on Akanji, so Bernardo Silva makes that sweet run. But all credit to Akanji. Because the easiest pass or the safest pass surely would have been that.
Stones.
True story. In fact, 9 out of 10, most players will go for that pass.
It is the safest pass, really. Yeah. And DiMarco is angling towards, making sure that if the pass comes, he's ready to that. But this run from Bernardo Silva is interesting. So he moves into that space, and the ball is squeezed in between the two players who on the night were brilliant. But it also causes a problem because now keep an eye on the other centre back who has to do with Haaland, Achebi. He has to cut across. So Achebi cuts across, which means that he vacates the central area, which he had been all game.
True.
All game. Now Achebi cuts across. He can't block the ball. And because he cuts across, this is crucial. Players now need to, because in football, when defenders shift, you need to follow up and back it up. Because Achebi cuts across, the midfielders need to back up the central area.
And follow it, occupy that space.
And while they do that, there is this space. There is, I'm looking for the space. Okay, let me use that free hand. There is this space.
Yeah.
Because all the midfielders are backing Achebi up. Bastoni and DiMarco, here they are. Bastoni here, DiMarco here, out of the picture. 2 defenders are out of the picture.
Yeah.
Achebi,
3 actually, if you had Achebi.
So Achebi is going to do his job.
DiMarco is eating grass.
These guys can't defend anymore. They are out of the game.
Yeah.
Now Achebi is going to, defend as he wants to close down and block the cross from Bernardo Silva. So nobody is defending this area, and that is where Rodri steps in, and Rodri finishes it up. There, nobody making the block. And in the end, that is the goal. So Pep Guardiola deciding to play with the midfield diamond, in the end is what gave this option. Otherwise, John Stones finds himself in the middle. Bernardo Silva doesn't make this run. Bernardo Silva is very wide, and there's nobody making those runs in behind in the half spaces. And throughout this season, when City have played this system, they've destroyed teams using the half spaces. The one time that they had the opportunity to do that in the final was this, and resulted in that goal. So yeah,
the thinking that perhaps Pep and his team were forced to do was because they came up against a team that was prepared and provisioned for every single possible scenario.
You talk about the Italians and their details, attention to detail.
Because that level of coordinated press is definitely choreographed. It's something you prepare for. So you try to synchronize the movements, and you have clear images of how the team looks like with each individual movement, so that they move in sync and then they work together. But I'll bet to differ on the goal. My thinking is that perhaps City benefited more from the absence of Kevin De Bruyne than from the position John Stones occupied.
Yeah.
Because if it's Kevin De Bruyne on the pitch, Bernardo Silva does not occupy that space. Right? If when City have got De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva and Gundogan, all 3 of them on the pitch, Bernardo Silva's job description is entirely different from when the inventive responsibility falls to just him and then Gundogan. And I think that City may or may not like it, but since February, some of their best football has been when Kevin De Bruyne has not been on the pitch. In terms of finding solutions against teams that come prepared and provisioned, and more importantly, have got the players to sustain possession when they press City and win it. The difference between what Inter did and what Man United did on Saturday was that while United were clear in their mind how to press City, be it the mid-press or whatever, and cut out their chances or the spaces that they could occupy, United were completely incompetent when it comes to when it comes to sustaining possession and trying to make sense of when they had the ball. Inter did not have that problem. I mean, we had centre-backs pinging 60-yarders to wing-backs in areas that City did not expect them to do. And I felt that Inter were simply unlucky to have lost that game, because on the balance of what they did, I think that's enough to beat most teams in the Champions League final.
Does this movement, this very movement, remind anybody of anything? This ball going through and Bernardo Silva finding himself here. Does it remind anybody of a semi-final goal Bernardo Silva scored? The first goal against Real Madrid at Etihad. Very similar. Very similar. But Bernardo Silva was against that back four. Bernardo Silva could very much get into these house spaces. But in this game, before this sequence, in and around the 65th minute, it was Bernardo Silva who was actually cutting in. And once he got into this pace, he never got back because John Stones had come there. It's the more reason why he stayed there. And Phil Foden's job was to be, and I thought Phil Foden, when he came on, he played well, as he said, when De Bruyne was off and Foden came, he played well. So, as I said, City have thrived playing in these central areas. That is where City have thrived in this very last part of the season. And the one time that Inter Milan couldn't deal with these scenarios or situations, the ball fell to Rodri and he smashed it home. All
right, fantastic. Sitcho, thank you very much. Take back your seat. Brilliantly done from Sitcho Fair. So now you understand everybody's appreciation of Inter Milan will go a notch higher because they contained City for large spells of this match, but City did what was necessary. And thanks to Pep Guardiola's genius. Treble winning manager, only the second to do it in England. He's now the first coach to do it with two different clubs in two different countries. It's unbelievable.
There's an argument to be made for where the City team stands in terms relative to other Pep Guardiola teams.
What do you think?
I'd say this is perhaps his least impressive team.
Okay. Anyway,
even amongst Pep Guardiola's City teams, I don't think this is not the best one. But it's actually gone on to achieve his.
I mean,
played his best.
The biggest games that the City have won, they've won it by being pragmatic, not necessarily by staying true to the principles that have defined Pep's coaching.
Okay, right. Good. We need to switch up the conversation and go to CAF Champions League, because that was where Al Ahly. If our clubs want to win the Champions League, the CAF Champions League, they need to have watched that game yesterday. And if they watched that game yesterday, of course they would have known exactly what it takes to play at that level. But let me read some messages here first before we do Champions League. This one says some of the ridiculous things that fans, even football presenters, said about Guardiola when he had not won the UCL trophy. That he was brought purposely to win the Champions League and would be a failure despite dominating the EPL. That he could only win with Messi. Yeah, it really had kept Guardiola. Some people just hated him. They even tried to compare Mourinho winning Conference League to Pep winning 5 EPL in 7 years. Guardiola is genius, whether anybody hates to accept it or not. Kofi in Kaswa, he sent us that message. Clearly a Pep fan. Congratulations to Pep and the guys for winning the Champions League on Saturday. We'll be hoping for more. That message has no name. I hope my man Mustafa Karim DK is back from Morocco. That's from Mutala. All right. More messages here. Madrid just going to buy a replica of Hazard. Man City will win the treble this season. They've already done it. So I don't know how old your message is. Hakma Abraham says, I'm watching the show live and I'm enjoying it. This one says, it said, good evening, honorable members of the best sports show in the country. The problem facing House of Folk is the arrogance of the management team and nothing else. That's a message from Mohammed Uchi in Tema, Community 25. Joy Prime, you are doing a great job. Letela Kinsley, he sent us that message. This message says, greetings to Sir Fent, my teacher at King's College. I always enjoy your sports. Thank you very much. To my student, you don't tell me your name, so I can't tell who it is. Bra Kwabena bathing at Dansuman says, congratulations to Medeama for winning the GPL, but we still need more improvement in our league and pay rise for the players. Big shout outs to diehard United fan Alex inside Kwashima. Okay, good. More messages. Hi, good evening. I want to congratulate Man City for winning the Champions League. It's a big achievement for them winning the treble, and I hope Chelsea will come back strongly next season. That's Justice Dogbe watching live in Togo. Thank you very much, Justice, for your message all the way from Togo. Can you guys please analyze the Lukaku missed chance? Maestro from Ashoman Estate send that message. Justice Tino from Tema says, I think Medeama's top scorer Sowa is really good. Imagine he started the season and played the full season. What he would have done. This one just says, I'm watching you guys from Osu, Ashanti Bloom. Thank you for your message. Nana Jamie just sends a happy belated birthday to his wife, Mrs. Erica Boache Ashman. All right, happy birthday to your wife.
Enjoy. Gaddafi
says he's watching from Yendi. Keep up the good work. And he says, my regards to RTU. And this one says, okay. No, he says he's struggling to hear the sound. Everybody else is hearing the sound, so I don't know what his problem is. Monkey Man in Ashoman, he says there's no sound on his TV, so check your TV. Others can hear me. Great show, fan, but guys, she can faster win that appeal. Does it not also mean that any team who played Tablet City with this guy also get boardroom points? Yes.
Oh, come on.
Technically, yes, but the FA rules are clear. If you don't file an appeal, they will not take the points for you.
And there's a window for filing appeals.
That's the thing. Anyway, Nana Boachikesi, president of BK Holdings in Takwa, he says much love to us. All right, much love to you guys too. Let's do Champions League. I'll read some more messages towards the end. Al Ahly took a 2-1 lead to Wydad Casablanca in Casablanca for the second leg, and the second leg ended 1-1. Al Ahly, of course, won 3-2 on aggregate and went away with a record 11th Champions League title. These guys just don't know how to stop. Casablanca was popping when Wydad scored first, of course, and it looked like the comeback was on. In the end, it wasn't to be. Achu.
I like the renaissance from Ali. For a brief period, it looked as though the Moroccan teams were regaining or beginning to assert control over football on the continent, but especially after the exits of Pitso Mosimane. But Ali have come back stronger. Some of us expected them to make some drastic changes to the squad that he assembled, but they haven't. They have kept players like Hani. They've kept even Percy Tau, whose future did not seem settled or sorted for about 18 months. But when the games have come in the home stretch of the season, both domestically and on the continent, he's been the star man, dragging the team to the most important matches for them. I mean, his goal in the first leg in the final was simply outstanding for them. And if you look at what they are doing, look, at some point, you need a bit more than just money. Yeah. You need a method to the recruitment, and you need a bit of consistency to the squad that you're assembling. Because the level of investment that we've seen with Dad and Raja making in the last 24 months is some insane levels that even Ali do not always do on the regular. So Ali have been perhaps forced by that competition to be a bit inventive and look at other means rather than just the investment that they make, because now there are money bags all over the continent. I mean, we talk about Yanga and Simba, even in the Confederations Cup. They are picking off the best talents that TP Mazembe used to have from DR Congo. Yeah. The players that Yanga field for the Confederations Cup final first leg, they had 5 of them from DR Congo. Yeah, they had 5 of them from DR Congo.
Of course, 1 from Ghana.
Exactly. Simba have essentially everybody who mattered at TP Mazembe. So there's money in Tanzania, there's money in Tunisia, there's money in Morocco especially.
Of course.
Ali simply have been forced to find or reinvent themselves and perhaps show a bit of faith in some of the investors. Imagine what would have happened if Percy Tau had moved on at the time that Pitso Mosimane also did. Or if they have decided to move on Hani and some of the star names who many felt had become too complacent in the early team. So, I mean, congratulations to them. They kept faith with this, and it's paid off.
Interesting. It's been a horrible weekend, or well, not weekend, a horrible week really for Italy and Italian teams. Fiorentina lost the Conference League final. Roma lost the Europa League final. Inter lost the Champions League final. And the Italy under-20 team lost to Uruguay in the FIFA Under-20 World Cup by 1-0. And so, for the first time in 3 tournaments, the winners of the Under-20 World Cup are not Europeans. So, congratulations, of course, to Uruguay. They won that game by 1-0.
And they also lost Berlusconi.
Sorry?
And they also lost Berlusconi.
AC Milan owner since 1986 until 2017. Won them 3 Champions League titles. Of course, even went to acquire a new club, AC Monza, and got them promoted to the Serie A in just their first season.
And they stayed afloat.
So he's a legend in the game, really. But may he so rest in perfect peace. Novak Djokovic, of course, did the 23rd. What a legend. What a legend. But Karim is here, okay, with I don't know, because Ghanaian players are not playing abroad anymore. None of them played in the Champions League, so I don't know what Karim has got for us. But Sicho, while Karim gets ready, Novak Djokovic, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's what can you say?
What can
a proper
say?
Champion. And
what can you say?
And that goes for every young athlete there. As much as possible, take care of your body.
Yeah.
Because that is, it doesn't matter how good you are, if your body starts failing you and age starts showing on you. Because with his age, he shouldn't be playing the tennis he's playing at this level with the energy he's got. But he's such a disciplined athlete, and credit to him, congratulations to him.
Interesting. Karim, take a look at me. You've put your hands in your pocket, you're standing attention, looking at the camera. What's going on? How are you?
Well, I'm good.
Hey. I see Lawrence Atizigi up there. He didn't play in the Champions League final, so what's going on?
He didn't play, but the Black Stars will be playing on Sunday, so
yes,
there's need for us having him here. So basically what I have here is that we've gone to look at how the Black Stars squad Chris Hughton has selected. They've performed since the last international break. That's from April up to this point. That's from April up to the end of the season. And these are the best players we've selected from his squad. As in, this is only from the players he's selected. And the performances we've looked at to come up with this 11 is from April, from the last international break, the minutes they've played up to this point. So basically, Lawrence Atizigi, since going back to Senegal, and he has played 11 times for them, kept 1 clean sheet from the 11 games, culminating that's from 990 minutes, playing all the minutes for them. Then Ali Seydou, he has been sensational for Clermont Foot all season, and from the last, he missed the Angola games, but after that he's played 8 games for Clermont Foot and got a red card against Angers.
Let's skip to the 11 here, because it seems we're running out of time. But which players have been the best performing players since the last international break? Just
here we have it. So basically we have Atizigi in goal, Joseph Edu and Nicolas Opoku, the 2 centre-back pairings. We have Ali Seydou at right back, Gideon Mensah at left back. Then we have a middle 2 of Partey and Salis. I know Kudus here, Sijo has always had issues with us putting him there. But if you're looking at the squad, where to fit in him, it means that you have to sacrifice one of those here, and it means bringing him to the midfield to partner.
So sacrifice them and play Ashimero. why can't you sacrifice Nyama and play Ashimero and play Kudus when Nyama is playing?
From what we've done, as in all these people have done better than Ashimiro, so it means that you have to take out either. So means
but Kudus has not played in the place that you've put him.
So Kudus has not played here.
Yes, but his club doesn't trust him to play there. So why?
The club has not trusted him to play. But
so the ultimate question is: if you pit Kudus against Nyama in that position, which of them have had the better performance since the international break?
Then Nyama has scored 5 goals from 11 games. Kudus has played 6 games and has provided just 1 assist. His games limited because of injury, but so it means that if you are to sacrifice one of them,
so Sicho is saying, you are going to take then in fairness you need to drop him quick.
Kudus and So the most prolific scorer from the March break up to this point is Joseph Pencil. He scored 5 goals and provided 2 assists for Genk. Basically, they miss out from the Belgium title, but he's doing well for them.
Right. How many goals has Jordan scored in the international break?
3 and provided 2 assists.
3.
Yes.
It sounded plenty at some point.
It did. He even scored a brace in 1 year.
Check. No, check. 3.
Oh, seriously?
Is it 3?
10 games.
No, I think it probably looks like 4.
Actually, no left out.
Nah, it's 3.
It's 3.
It's 3.
It looks like
It's 3. Not started, it was assist. Danny came made it look like he was scoring.
Charlie, we asked to apologize and all.
I told you.
Yeah, anyway, our time is up. Thank you very much, Karim. That was interesting. Karim with the Ghanaian Players Abroad segment. Sichofe Philip Achrim joined us here with some brilliant tactical analysis. Someone here who sent a message and said he absolutely enjoyed it. He said, I just tuned in. Nice program. Sicho, thanks for the analysis. Great show. Men on point. That's Clara with that message. Achu Tamaklo also returning here for the first time in a few months, giving us some great insights into all of the things that we've been talking about. The show, of course, is brought to you by Syntex and Hunters. My name is Fento, Tahiru Fento. It's been an absolute pleasure coming your way. Until next time, you take care of yourself and bye-bye.